Blessings, everyone, and good morning. Okay, so here we're at Jonathan Kleck's homepage. Now, I want you to see just real quickly the tree here, that this is the tree of knowledge. You know, this is good and evil, right and wrong. And you see it sideways here. So the first thing that I'm thinking of here, the first word that comes to me is the opposite. Not, below and as above and below, but opposite. Now, this goes, and I thought of this when it was this video here. All right, so this is a video that Jonathan Kleck did in 2018. Okay, and I remember saying this because I remember the mole on his face being on the opposite side. And so when I looked at it, I looked behind, and sure enough, you can see the opposite. Everything was the opposite, just as this tree of good and evil. Okay, so here he has the picture, the chair, the window on the opposite side of the room. Again, this broken finger and the mole under his eye here, all on the opposite side. So in 2018, when I saw this, I thought he was just giving a lesson in discernment, or, so I didn't think anything of it, and I just bypassed it until now. Now, there was a correction done on Soap Ministry, and he openly accepted the correction. And when I saw this correction, I knew, well, I better go back and check and see if I had done anything, what my part was in all of this, because it had come from my table. So the question was whether he used both hands in this one video, and he does. The one with the broken finger, he does it once, and the good hand, I think he does it two times, I believe. And but it's the same video. But there was a question, and my question was, I wondered if he told his people what he was doing, why he was doing it, and how he was doing it. So I had to watch the whole video for that. And I did, and I didn't hear him explain anything about why he did what he did here, okay, with the device, with things being on the opposite side of the room, along with them, filming this way. So I'm looking at it, okay, he doesn't say anything, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking, this is like MK Ultra, and I've said this from the very beginning with Jonathan Kleck, that I really believe that this man is all about MK Ultra. Very strongly, his father being Navy SEALs. There's the waters, the 2008 Olympics opened up with the Navy SEALs, the waters. This man, that's all he talks about, is the waters, the dam. So I for a very, very long time, have been saying this, maybe just from the beginning, that this was all MK Ultra, starting with his testimony. Now, I just want to say that this has all come about because of Soap Ministry coming forward with an open correction that was done to him. And again, I thank Gene Revel for that, because without that correction, I wouldn't be back here looking into this again. There's a lot of things that I was working on a week prior to the correction to Soap Ministry. When I saw this, when I went back and I saw it, I couldn't believe that this video was so fully loaded with information that first I have been working on for a week, that nobody knows what I'm working on. And right off the bat, he starts talking about it. And the imagery, the manifestations that are taking place alongside this man, where they're actually putting out animated cartoons that are matching up right up with his testimonies. And this is really something, Again, this man has been brought to me, he's been put in front of me, and it's always been about the testimony. It always goes back to the testimony. And this is no different. I'm going back to the testimonies. We need to know, and for those that are passing through, that are looking and seeking the true, you need to know the true witnesses of God. And those true witnesses are those that are chosen. I say this because there's so much going on in as a youth and growing up in the walk you have with Him, with that personal relationship. Everybody has it, good or bad, but you have it. All you have to do is remember. People run away from their childhood because it's too hurtful, it's too painful, I don't want to see this. But to remember that it's not going to hurt you anymore, and you're observing this. MK Ultra can go very deep into the subconscious, of course. I mean, it goes right in there. And what triggers that is emotion. Opens up the subconscious. This is why I've always said with MK Ultra, it is the emotion that they go after. To control. To trigger. People that have been molested at the age of 6 months will, for the first time, be putting baby powder on their newborn. And all of a sudden, they start to trigger. All of a sudden, they just go right into tears. They bust into tears. They, are out of control emotionally. To find out through therapy that the body remembered the trauma. The smell of baby powder triggered her emotion of the incest or the rape at the age of 6 months. So you have no memory of that rape, but your body does. The trigger is there. This is MK Ultra. This is what I'm seeing in front of me with this video. I cannot believe the things that are being said in this video, okay, are everything that I was working on. I'm just shaking my head, and I'm having a difficult time getting it out there because I'm just so shocked at what I'm hearing. And as I go along, there's just more and more. So this message has really actually come from 4 people, 4 servants of the Lord, and this is how He works. And we're all witnesses. We all become witnesses. So I'm going to be just talking as we go along because there's just so much here. I've written quite a bit, and it's still overwhelming even though it's written down. So to the question of whether he uses both hands in this one video, absolutely. I want to thank Babylon Watch, Babylon Exposed, for putting it out there. And I want to thank Gene Revel for the correction. And just that there's no misunderstanding that Babylon Watch didn't do anything wrong. Also, it's just that he was really pushing the fact that he uses, his hands for hand signs. So what comes out of his mouth is the opposite of what he puts in the camera and in your face. The insult is there. So I would really look into the MK Ultra Operation Paperclip and start there, but start at the beginning. And just allow the Holy Spirit to lead you into the next question. So again, I don't know, this is the opposite. Okay, the hand. Let's see if I can...
line. And contains no lie. 100%. no lying. So the Lord at that point was about to give his servant the 100% truth.
Okay, there's the good hand. He uses that twice. And the second is...
This world considers foolishness to confound the wise. Now watch. Will teach you all things. His teaching is true and contains no lie. 100%.
Okay, so there's the other hand. All right, so that's taken care of. Okay, the hook right here is the finger, the hook. All right, now I'm going to start off by saying that I didn't know anything at the time when I first saw this, and there was reasons for it, and you can see it if you know what you're looking for, okay? Because back then I wasn't even talking about football or even looking at stadiums as worship, as blood worship and games, okay, the Olympics. I wasn't even close to this, okay? But so when I saw the Babylon Watch video about this satanic salute and football, surf, the waters, okay, again, what it's all about, what you're looking for. Are you looking for a color code? Are you looking for a demon in the closet? Or are you looking for, in the same manner, confirmations? Like, let me explain this. Okay, so you got the hook here, right? You've got the sign, okay, which is the satanic. It's a witch sign, okay? Moon sign, whatever. It's a witch sign, right? It said surfers, football teams. This is the sign that the Führer should be using, indicating the hook'em horns and not the two above. Who calls Hitler Führer nowadays? I mean, really, how often do you hear that? So who's doing this, right? So it had the football. And I wasn't talking about football back then, like I said. But now, this is standing out. This is what I'm looking for. Okay? Surfers, water. He talks about the water. The Olympics started with the Navy SEALs. You know, so water, surfers. These are the things that you look for. It doesn't need to be the answer, but it gives direction. See, if you are outside of the flow and you are asking your own questions, then you're not tapped in, as Jonathan Kleck would say, to the 500 server, because you're asking your own questions, so it leads you in a completely different direction that everybody else is going into. The less you are on the device, the better you are. And I'm talking about laptop, I'm talking about your tablet, your phone. The less that you're on them, the better you are. Now look at this, check this out, okay? Now back in 2018, I would not have seen this video. I would not have made the connection with his hand and to prove that he was using both hands willingly, okay? And this was the hook'em sign, the whatever, the two above, the witch sign, okay? So Jonathan Kleck, for some reason, I don't know why, starts talking about where he comes from, which was Frankfurt, Germany. And he does a video, and he shows himself on the phone, and I'm going to show it to you here. And he talks a little bit, and he just tells you that he's from Frankfurt, and just to prove that this is true. This is what he says to you. And I immediately thought that, this sounds like a plant. There's something to this. You know, why is he, that's the way I received that. So then I go to Frankfurt and I look into it a little bit, not so much about this man, Jonathan Kleck, but Frankfurt, Germany. The connection, if there was any connection with Operation Paperclip, this is the first thing that comes to my mind, because again, it's all about the Holocaust. 2008, the kids are saluting to the flag with the Holocaust, with the Hitler salute, and it's only the children that are doing it. And then he shows a picture of him as a young child from Frankfurt. All of these things come afterwards, you see. So I'm looking at Frankfurt, and then it says football. Okay, so we have football again, but there's something that happens here on the same sheet. When I first go to this sheet here, hold on. Okay, so this is the video I made, FC Frankfurt, March 2008. Move to look a little deeper. Here's what I found. Frankfurt order. Okay, so I actually say, I think this is important, and I bring it right up to the top page. So I'm being moved to the top page. I didn't even read the top page at this point, and I just went right back up. Now, here, watch this. So I scroll down. So this is what I found. This is the first thing I find. FC Frankfurt is the town's local football team. Okay, it's the first thing. And move it up so you can see it a little bit anyway. I'm sorry about that, but it does. It says FC Frankfurt is the town's local football team. On the top paragraph, it ends with controls, and on the bottom paragraph, it talks about the March of 2008. The Jewish community of Frankfurt celebrates the first Torah dedication. Okay, so this was the video that I made, right? You can see it. You saw the top page. So I look into it again. I go back to the page. I go back to the page where I found the Frankfurt team, okay, the town. Again, here we are, Frankfurt order, Wikipedia. And here, it's gone. They have taken it out. Well, why would they take it out? Okay, so just not too long ago, it was about maybe 3-4 days ago, I heard a video that Jonathan collected when he said that he's the one that's opening up the scroll. And I didn't realize that he even put his hand on that. So then, again, I'm thinking of this right here. In March 2008, the Jewish community of Frankfurt celebrated its first Torah dedication since the Holocaust. Again, 2008, the Olympics, the Holocaust, the kids doing the Hitler salute. The procession of the new Torah scroll began from the spot where the town's Frankfurter synagogue stood prior to World War II. So I'm thinking, they're not of his spot. You remember that verse? They're not of his spot. I'll put that in the description. And I'm thinking, they're not of their spot. And then the scroll, the new scroll. See, and I'm thinking, the Olympics, they were showing you how they made the scroll. This was a new scroll. This was a scroll about their story, about who they were, what they were, who they worshiped, what they worshipped. Their colors, everything was there in that scroll. The boats, the shipping boats, all of it was in that scroll. Jesus was not in that scroll, nor was God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in that scroll. This was a new scroll. And then here I'm reading of the new Torah scroll began from the spot, and I'm thinking, they're not of his spot. So, and then the synagogue, okay, synagogue of Satan. The 500 meters from Germany, current border with Poland. 500 meters is when Jonathan Kleck said that the 500 represented the Antichrist concerning the scriptures. And that everybody was going to be, like, there was, and at that time, I was looking into it was called the 500 server. The 500 server was in question. And then Jonathan Kleck comes out and says, everybody's getting plugged in. Okay? And right away it's to the 500 server. Everybody's being plugged in. The virus, the companies, they're all plugging in. This is how they're working it. The 500 meter. Synagogue of Satan, the New Scroll, blood. Germany and Poland, this is where it all started with the blood. It was so thick. It was the concentration camps. This was bloody. Celebrants marched with the scroll into the town's center, where they danced with the Torah, which had been donated by the members of the community in Berlin. Football. Now, I wrote down here just a little note for the Frankfurt football team, and now again you can look this up, is a Germany football club based in Frankfurt Oder. Okay, it was founded in East Germany as the Army Club. The name Vorwärts, Vorwarts, was in Germany. These teams associated with state security forces, including police and army. I mean, whoa, okay? And the police, you remember when he did the testimony where the police surrounded him and they took him in and all this stuff? There's the police, the military, the army, the navy, the waters, it's all here. Now, again, when we look at Munich, the Munich Olympics, the massacre in 1972 where 11 Israelis were massacred, they were killed at the beginning of these games, of the Olympic Games, and this was in Germany, of course, and again, they opened up the ceremonies with blood. They just, it was a blood sport. It was their blood that was covered over the Olympics. You know, it's like that vain show. They just, you know, continued and moved forward, and they played their games after the massacre. The innocent blood being shed. The Aztecs, the Mayans, there was times where they had a blood sport where they would they play their games, and the ones that lost, the team that lost would lose their lives. It was life and death. There was blood spilt on those games. No different than the basketball with the virus, where I found curry with the Chinese 30 on it with the virus. You know, again, Sister Marie, again, you know, putting it before me, you know, for me to, whether I picked it up or not, and I did. And it was Kobe Bryant. Again, there was, this was all about to do with the Sheth and to understand gray matter, you know, the research that I did here. Again, you know, this was all blood sport. Okay. But to have surfers here, again, this is what I'm looking for. Look at that, with the waters, the football, FC football, Germany. Now again, I wouldn't have gotten that in 2018. I wouldn't have made any connection to any of this, right? You see, with MK Ultra, look at this. They keep the mind busy, but it's not in the direction, and not, it's like you're asking all the wrong questions, you know? Really.
First down in Uzbekistan. Fox and Master, yes. Fox.
Seriously. What comes out of his mouth is not what it is that he's saying. Ezekiel 20:32. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all that ye say. Okay, I think that's it for the hand sign. Go in here. Now this, again, we're going to go into the testimony a little bit. And it says mannerism. It's everything about what he's saying in this. Again, you know, you have a choice. And you have to see that the door is opened to make that choice to escape from what it is that you believed through this man. To find yourself through this man is wrong. You need to go to God I gotta back up. I'm going too far ahead, sorry. Okay. Again, the way God works is through his servants, witnesses, becoming witnesses, sewing us together, okay? Knowing us by our fruits, our beginnings. Not for a man to be sitting there in front of a camera pointing it over here and pointing over there, saying he's going to go to the desert and he'll be back. And that he's the one that is unsolving everything and everybody's to look his way. This is a man that comes in his own name and everybody hears what he has to say. But when you come in Jesus' name, they don't even look at you. Too many voices. They have too many voices. Okay.
Lion? No. And my whole body lights up like I'm in Star Trek?
Okay. The only time I ever really got zapped, and this, again, I'm just saying this is personal with me, but when I played with dead things, you know, went into houses that were pretty active, portals, you know, that they were just coming out of the portals. I had evidence after evidence of what it was that was being seen and bringing forward. And I know that zapping that he's talking about, that, you know, pulling on the shirt when he used to do that, this was all about familiar spirits. This is all familiar spirits. Invading thoughts. You know, you're thinking about one thing and something, you know, all of a sudden you're cut off and now you're thinking about something completely different. Familiar spirits. No different than what, you know, it said here, you know, in Ezekiel 20:32. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be all that ye say. To continue this, he says, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone.
Whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Oh, 100% no lying. Like a Texan would say, hey, no lying. Don't you be lying to me, son. 100% no lying. No lying. The Spirit himself will teach you all things. His teaching is true and contains no lie. 100% no lying. So the Lord at that point was about to give his servant the 100% truth, because truth is not relative. Truth is absolute. And in order to see it, you have to turn everything upside down. That's a pretty tough message to carry to the world. You know that, don't you? Well, so I go out in an alley. The Lord leads me through a series of, you know, I have to listen, be led by the Spirit. I end up in an alley and I I open a door that means imminent death if I open the door, and I open the door anyway because I want to know the truth. I want to know what the Spirit wants to show me, and I'm willing to die to get it, and I open the door.
You see, now that is very interesting to me that he was willing to die to get it, because it's the opposite. See? It's the opposite with me, because I wanted to stop the pain. Okay? The pain was so great the night that I was saved. Again, the piercing in the ears, the metallic screeching in my head, it was, absolute pain. And there was a voice. So that voice just represents whatever it was that he visioned in front of him, or what he saw in front of him was this man. And he'll just tell you it was just a man, but he says that a few times in this video, just his mannerism towards his testimony. I looked at this and I thought, wow, because when I know within my own testimonies, I mean, it's just like yesterday for me. It's so seared, just like yesterday. I would remember the smells. You see? And,
And I end up in the back of St. Anthony Hotel, walking down a set of stairs that are horizontal that go like this as I walk. They were counterpart.
And just notice, just right here, how detailed he's talking about the staircase. How detailed this is. You can see that it's almost as though, like it's right there in front of him, right? It's intense, right?
Balance, it's a fire escape, and I go boom, and I hit the ground, and the guy's waiting right there in an alley, and he says, "Pray with me, my brother." And I'm like, he walks to the side of me, and we pray, "Our Father." Water and light comes down on me like a scene from Star Trek.
Again, there's a video out there that he does a testimony, and he tells you that this all happened at night. So if this happened at night in the late hours, then when he's talking about the water and light coming onto him and coming down on him, it wasn't, a rays from the sun, or, this happened at night. And there was in his own words, he'll tell you.
That's where this started.